Here we go.
Christian here with cheap beat-up Elvis vinyl. Several years ago, my sweet little sister-in-law gave me this book here, Elvis Presley Album. I said, thanks. But when I checked it out, it is really cool. And the thing I like about it is it's made like, we see it's made to look like a scrapbook. But the inside is truly like a scrapbook. It's little cutouts of articles, and they'll have the date on the article up there, and the article as it appeared, lots of photos, and it goes through Elvis's whole career. I thought it was wonderful. Lots of little memorabilia things up in here, album covers, movie advertisements, live shots, Elvis kissing girls. Thought it was fantastic. That's the kind of stuff I like. I like reading about Elvis as it was written at the time, not when it was written with the luxury of hindsight, and you see everything through the lens of Elvis was the biggest, most loved entertainer in history, and so now here's his story. When you read these things that were written at the time, you see what people were thinking about him in 1956, 1963, and you get a little better perspective. Anyway, that was one of my favorite Elvis books. Got lots of Elvis books, but that was one of my favorites. Well, a couple days ago, I went to a Friends of the Library sale, and I got this guy. So I saw it sitting there really thick, and it says Elvis Album. So I open it up, and I go, man, that layout looks kind of familiar. I start flipping through it, and sure enough, it's by the same guy, same publisher, same everything. This one came out in '98. Samantha, I hear you. '98, and it's fantastic, as I said, and it is 92 pages long. Well, this one came out in 2001, and it's 320 pages, so it is so much more detailed, and it is absolutely fantastic. You bringing me something? She's bringing me her squeaky mouse. I hear you, come on. Absolutely fantastic. $2. $2. Fantastic. Wonderful book. I mean, that'll be hours and hours of enjoyment. I know. Come on. Come tell the people hello. Come here. Everybody asks about you. Everybody loves you. All right. The frame of the door was suddenly more interesting than me, as she's rubbing against it. So yesterday, I went and stopped by my favorite little record store here in Covington, Louisiana. Retro Music. And I got some pretty cool stuff. First of all, I like 8-tracks. Boom. $1. Legendary Performer, Volume 1, 1973, I believe, yeah. Great shape. Love it. So what I do is I see them, I just pick them up. You know, you get them, you just put them in a little stack, and you pick up an 8-track here, you pick up one there, 2 here. Before you know it, you got 10 8-tracks, 20 8-tracks. Now you're starting to get what they call a collection. So I'm looking around through the stuff, and my buddy Davis comes over to me and he says, "Hey man, you got to have this." He's the guy that works there. He goes, "You got to have this, man, here, for being a good customer." Elvis Double Trouble Beta, still sealed. It's the Beta VHS. Double Trouble. The original title of that movie was Trouble. And then when they were talking about promoting it, what they could do, they were trying to come up with a better idea. The guy said, you got to come up with something better, Trouble. How could we make it more? How could we make it seem bigger, better? Ernie, what do you have? And Ernie goes, what? Double Trouble. There you go. Once again, Ernie names the movie Double Trouble. Fantastic. Beta. Now, this is one that I got months ago. Your time hasn't come yet, baby. But if you look closely, what's also up in there? Those are the little labels that they used to put in the jukeboxes. And this was stuck in the sleeve. So I picked that one up a couple months ago. And I thought, kind of interesting, the jukeboxes. Well, I've noticed now that several times I've been looking through crates of records, and I can tell that it came from maybe a radio station because you can see their promos or different little indicators. But I've also looked through crates where you can tell that it was someone that ran or owned jukeboxes, because there'll be tons of those little labels in it. But that was the only time I ever found any Elvis until yesterday. And I found a few more, all in one crate. Must have been someone that turned it in. Here you go. Blue Christmas. Santa Claus is back in town. And it's a red label. I love the red labels. So I scooped up that one. And then one of my favorite Elvis songs, Rockahula Baby. Love that one. And then, of course, the one that I was referring to is one of my favorites, Can't Help Falling in Love. Now, that was the song that my child bride, future ex-wife, and I danced to at our wedding. And when I was a young fella, when they used to show the Elvis movies on the big movie, they would have an Elvis week. And they would usually show Blue Hawaii on Friday. And when it got to that part, I was a little fella, and I thought, one day, when I meet my future ex-wife, that might be the song that I would want. And so it was. Next up, Kentucky Rain. Scoop that one up. Orange label. Always love the orange labels. Now, something kind of interesting on Kentucky Rain. I noticed that handwriting there. 470. 470. Now, this one came out in February of 70. Could it be that they didn't put it in the jukebox until April, 2 months later? Well, it could have been, it could have been not an exactly, it could have come out at the end of February and been put in at the beginning of April. But still, I don't know how the jukeboxes worked. Did they? I would think that as soon as the record was released, you'd want it on the jukebox. Or was it pulled from the jukebox on 470? Maybe it had a 2-month run in the jukebox. But what caught my eye about that was the handwriting. Now, as I have revealed at great possible peril to myself, that's what I did when I worked for the CIA, the FBI, the Secret Service. I analyzed handwriting. And so I recognized that handwriting, and I dug up one of my other ones, The Wonder of You, and there's that same handwriting on there. The Wonder of You was released in May of 70. And this has 670. So maybe it was put in at a slight delay, much like Kentucky Rain. Or maybe that's when it was pulled. But just to show you the handwriting analysis, and one of my expertise is, I won't charge you for this seminar on handwriting. You see how the 7 is made? Can you see that? See how the 7 is made with one little slash. See that? And you see how the 0 is made with its opening and closing right up at the top. And the same thing with this guy. One little slash of the 70. So there's a little, that may help you if you're tracking anything handwriting wise, international espionage, whatever it is that you do in your spare time. That's between you and God. Last thing that I picked up was this beauty right here. Couldn't pass it up. For this song is one of the favorite songs of my child bride, future ex-wife. So I picked it up for her, splurged. All those records I just showed you were $1 a piece. So I'm the big spender, if you know what I'm saying. So I picked up a bunch of jukebox Elvis singles with their labels on Record Store Day. Everyone else was in there buying the new Hoodoo Gurus MP3 video laser disc single EP, whatever. I was digging through an old crate. Had a blast. Thanks for watching. Please like or subscribe, or like and subscribe. Give me the combo. That's called the combo platter. Thanks, Elvis. Okay, fine.